Imagine waking up tomorrow, but when you open your eyes, something is completely wrong. There are no buildings, there are no cars, there is no internet, there is no electricity. There is none of the technology you consider essential for survival. You look around and realize you are in a completely different world. A world where nature controls everything, where the cold can kill you in just a few hours, where a simple cut can become a deadly threat. And the most terrifying part, you are not in the recent past. You have awakened 100,000 years ago, in a time when humans were still fighting every single day just to stay alive. The question is, how long would you survive in this world? One day? 1 week? Or maybe not even one night? When we think about ancient humans, many people imagine primitive beings, but the reality was much more complex. 100,000 years ago, the planet was dominated by extreme environments. Large areas were covered by ice. Giant animals walked across the earth. And small human groups had to make decisions every day that determined whether they would live or die. Now imagine yourself arriving in this world. The first thing you would realize is that you do not know where you are. You do not know which plants are safe. You do not know which animals to avoid. You do not know what food you can eat. And most importantly, you do not have any of the tools you use today to make life easier. A modern human is used to solving problems by pressing buttons. Hungry? Open the refrigerator. Cold? Turn on the heater. Lost? Use GPS. But in this world, every decision requires knowledge. The smallest mistake could be fatal. The greatest enemy probably would not be a predator. It would be the night, without a house, without a bed, without heating. Your body would quickly feel the difference. The cold would be a constant threat. Ancient humans had to find shelter, protect their bodies, and control fire. Fire was not just a source of warmth, it was survival. It allowed them to cook food, keep animals away, and create a gathering place for the group. But there is one important detail. You would not simply know how to start a fire. No matches, no lighter, no ready-made fuel. The knowledge that seems simple today was an essential survival skill back then. Another problem would appear quickly. You would be alone, and humans never survived alone. The greatest advantage of our species was not strength. It was not speed. It was cooperation. Human groups shared food, protected children, cared for the injured, and divided responsibilities. An individual alone would have enormous difficulties, but inside a group, the chances of survival increased. If you found a human community, you would face another challenge: being accepted. You would have a different language, different behaviors, no useful skills that they recognized. To that group, you would simply be a stranger. Today, getting food seems simple. You walk into a supermarket and find hundreds of options. 100,000 years ago, every meal was an achievement. You would need to search for roots, fruits, small animals, fish, or participate in hunting. But hunting was not like the movies. It was dangerous. Humans faced animals much larger and stronger than themselves. One mistake could cause serious injuries, and an injury back then was much more serious. There were no hospitals, there were no antibiotics, there were no modern surgeries. Your body had to heal on its own. Life 100,000 years ago was not only about finding food, it was about avoiding invisible threats, diseases, infections, parasites, climate changes, lack of water. Small problems could become deadly dangers. A simple infection could completely change someone's destiny. Besides that, there were predators. Animals that today seem like creatures from history, but at that time were real threats. Large cats, ancient wolves, giant animals. Nature was not a safe place. It was an environment where every living creature fought for survival. Despite all of this, there is something surprising. You would have an advantage that no human from that time had: knowledge. You know fire is important. You know wounds need protection. You know contaminated water can cause disease. You know working together increases survival chances. The problem is, knowing something does not mean you can do it. Modern knowledge without tools would still be extremely limited. You would know you need a knife, but how would you create one? You would know you need shelter, but how would you build it? Survival would require transforming knowledge into skill. If you woke up 100,000 years ago, you would probably realize one thing: modern life has made us dependent on things we barely notice: energy, technology, infrastructure. But you would also discover something incredible. The humans of that time were not inferior. They were survivors. They faced a difficult planet. They learned to control fire. They created tools. They worked together. And they opened the path for everything that exists today. Maybe the biggest difference between us and them is not intelligence. It is the environment they needed to survive every single day. We only need to remember how. If you enjoy discovering how humans survived before civilization, follow the channel. Because the story of humanity began long before cities. It began when simply surviving was already a victory.